Welcome everybody back to another episode. This is the Sober Gang Experience podcast, where we delve into the deepest side of addiction, and we try to navigate our way through it with inspiring interviews from experts, personal stories of triumph and redemption. But this is what I would love for y'all to do, though. Let me clean the house right now. Let me clean house right now. I would love for y'all, if you are new right now and you are watching this broadcast, I would love for you to continue to come to this platform. Ain't no need to go anywhere else. If to look for addiction content, this is the channel I would love for you guys to start coming back to. Grow with our family, me and my panel of guest speakers. We love to bring you insightful content about addiction. So I would love you guys to just take the time out right now and press that like button. And if you're new to the channel right now, please subscribe to the channel. Become a part of our family. Each week, we try to bring you new content about addiction that will add value to your life. That is what we're about, everybody. So I would love for you to continue, grow with us, learn with us, because each individual speaker that I have on my show, everybody have their own thing, and they have their own thing that they love to bring to the table as well. So I would love for you guys to continue to follow us and join us today. But today I got a very special episode. I got my panel of guest speakers. They will be here with me today. We're going to talk about inner city addiction. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the aspects. We're going to get down to the grassroots of it. We're going to get down to the causes of it. Poverty, unemployment, the lack of resources. Let's do it. At a late age in my life,
2, 1.
Through the sober house. So like, drive me around. I'll pay you.
Welcome right back. I will be your host for today, and this is my podcast where we try to inspire and motivate those in addiction. Today, we will be talking about inner city addiction. We will be trying to get down to the grassroots of it. I got my panel of guest speakers in the building today. But I would love for you guys, before we even start, to make sure you hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. We finna get into it. Welcome everybody back. What's going on, everybody? What's up?
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We're going to get off topic right now. I had a good weekend. I hope everybody out there had a good weekend. I know I did. I learned a lot about myself. I'm resilient, man. You know, even when pressure is on me, I still maintain and I stand 10 toes down. I remain solid. A lot of I had a person walk up to me and tried to tempt me, y'all, for real. I mean, really tempt me. And I think he actually knew what I was doing, what I stand for, and it caught him by surprise. I guess he said, you know what, he stand on his square. He tried to offer me some cocaine. I looked at him. I gave him that look like he was like, oh, my bad. I forgot. Man, you ain't forgot. He didn't forget. He know what I'm about.
Oh, that was a test.
And that's in my mind. I think the devil sent him right to me to try to test me, man. So I stood on my square. Like I said, this weekend I learned a lot about myself. So I'm gonna continue this. This is what we aiming for, everybody. If you're new out there and you're watching, this is what we're about. We're trying to motivate and inspire a lot of people in addiction. So make sure you hit that like button right now. And if you're new, subscribe to the channel. But we are discussing inner city addiction. And we're going to get to the grassroots of it. I got a video clip I would love for you guys to watch with me. We're going to get right to it. Oh, yeah. Let me get off script one more time, too, y'all, since we live. We all know that Jamie Foxx has recently, his scare or stroke or whatever they said he was going through for the last 3 months. And, he recently got out and he did a video. But a lot of people in the industry are talking about he has been cloned and A lot of little crazy mess about that. But you know, he came out with that. He came out with a new movie that is on Netflix right now. And so there's a lot of speculations going on about that. I don't know if y'all into conspiracy theories and things of that nature, but yeah, it was all on the blogs, all on YouTube, people talking. What y'all think about them conspiracies, them cloning and Illuminati type stuff in Hollywood? You know, that we always hear about, because everybody, I mean, you can go on TikTok. There's millions of videos. They got his old face beside this new person. They saying this ain't him. They done cloned him, and he took the COVID-19. Because what had happened on the set of this new movie they was filming, he had got sick, and they said he had got the jab, the COVID-19. The next thing you know, he had a stroke or whatever it was he had, and now everybody talking about it ain't him and he's cloned. So I don't know.
Unfortunately, to me, all of this, whatever, is just publicity for everybody.
You think it was? Because you know the movie
Absolutely.
is called They Cloned Tyrone.
Is that the movie? I see it advertised on Netflix.
Yeah, that's the name of the movie. So I mean, a lot of people thinking that, you know, the Illuminati, the elites. He died in that stroke. They actually said a lot of people like that he died when he had that stroke. He dead, so they cloned him to bring him back to make money.
These are the same people who are spreading around that Tupac is still alive.
Yeah, some of that. Like,
good, he's dead. Get over it.
They have cloned. I think they've cloned some animals, but how old is Jamie Foxx? In his 40s?
Yeah, 55.
Okay, so how they, even if they did clone him, wouldn't he be a baby? How do you grow him into a 55-year-old man in 6 months?
Man, it's crazy, man. Them videos on YouTube and how you go.
That's why I keep my social media very, like, I don't buy into all that dumb shit. I just don't.
You gotta fact check everything.
Yeah, totally.
You just Google it.
And then most of it is still crap.
And theories are always, everyone's going to develop a theory as long as there isn't information being given that needs to be given, right?
That's right.
So I don't necessarily believe all the theories, but they're interesting to listen to, you know, because it's just people trying to fill in the gaps.
That's me right there. I sure be listening. I'd be like, let me turn this.
That's why the National
gives me a headache.
Then I'll be looking at the picture. So I'll be like, that ain't him. That woman look at his chin. His head is smaller. He took the jab. He got the COVID.
Yeah, and there's no Photoshop, I'm sure.
So,
all that stuff. You're right. All that stuff is too easy, Jennifer, today. To Photoshop a picture to make. I mean, you see the videos of the aliens, the spaceships landing. I mean, come on.
You know, he came out and did a video. I was gonna put it up today, but I was like, nah. He addressed the whole situation. He was like, he didn't want anybody to see him in the hospital, tubed up. He said, I am not a clone, and he laughed. He said, look, my eyes still work. He said, I'm not a clone, and so he addressed those rumors. There's speculations going on out there. So, but we're gonna get into this video, everybody. Let's get into it.
And to prison, and they will not have a chance.
In the early 1980s, the nation's slogan was clear. Just say no.
Crack now has spread to almost every American citizen.
But what if I told you that there was more to the crack era than what the white mainstream news media let on? And that it went beyond Black and Latinx folks who simply needed to kick a drug habit. Today's baggage, how the war on drugs ravaged Black America. Once upon a time, in a not so far away and familiar place, the United States entered what became known as the crack era. During the early 1980s, a new drug somehow infiltrated low-income Black and brown communities, causing crime and chaos. It was called
crack cocaine.
The problem is crack cocaine.
Crack cocaine may deny these Black children a decent future.
Well, it turns out that your uncle, who always talks about the man, was right. Well, sort of. While crack did absolutely ravage some Black and brown communities, it wasn't that simple. The United States government and agents of the state were corrupt and had a hand in creating this dark time in America's history. Misinformation about crack cocaine and its users flooded airwaves and proved to be just as dangerous as the substance itself. Decades after the crack era has come and gone, its impact lives on. But before we fall any deeper into this rabbit hole, let's take it back to the beginning of this war on drugs, which is often dubbed America's longest war in history.
Please start war!
The federal government first banned the recreational use of a substance, opium, in the early 1900s. Then came the Prohibition era, which focused on alcohol. Shortly after, the feds began to track and vilify people who struggled with addiction, especially if they were black. Fast forward to 1971, when Richard Nixon declared war.
America's public enemy number one is drug abuse.
2 presidents later, Ronald Reagan not only carried on, but weaponized this anti-drug stance.
Drugs are menacing our society.
Though Reagan was the first president who promised to
Make America great again.
but rather he made things worse for low-income communities. In fact, at the time, the poverty rate grew faster in the first 3 years of Reagan's presidency than in any other time since the 1950s. Meanwhile, in another part of the world, the United States was funding an illegal war in Nicaragua, and drug smugglers were sending cocaine to the U.S. on U.S. planes. Somehow, the United States officials had no clue.
Whether the United States actually loaded up the planes with cocaine, or whether they just kind of turned their backs, right, and let the planes take off and go to the United States to land, the United States knew that at the very least that cocaine was being flown in and just ignored it.
Stanley Nelson is an award-winning documentary filmmaker, MacArthur genius, and director of Crack, Cocaine, Corruption, and Conspiracy. He says that this rampant poverty and international scandal, which caused cocaine to flood the United States, was the backdrop in which the crack era took off.
The crack era seemed to come out of nowhere, somewhere in the early 80s. All of a sudden, everywhere in Harlem, people would be out on the street selling and using crack. Not only in Harlem, I remember, I was walking across 42nd Street and people were in doorways smoking crack.
In his film, Nelson walks viewers through various phases of the crack epidemic.
At first, we saw it in the African-American Latinx communities. Then, we're like, oh my God, there's an epidemic. The politicians weren't talking about it. The media wasn't talking about it. The police were not stopping it. That's a big part of it.
Some dirty cops took money from drug dealers, or they took drug money themselves.
What did you steal? Money and drugs and guns, whatever was it?
And somehow this fact was left out of the media. Wonder why? And then there was a shift.
A local success story took a tragic turn this morning.
Maryland basketball star Len Bias died after overdosing on cocaine 2 days after he was drafted to the Boston Celtics.
It was like a political wet dream, because now all politicians, Democrats, Republicans, everybody was talking about the scourge of crack and the evil dealers who are dealing crack. And it was crazily overblown.
And from the era emerged some dangerous myths about Black people.
Go! First of all, there was the crackhead, just had given up their lives to crack and, would do anything for crack. Then there was the crack mama. That was, basically Black women. This woman sold her baby for crack.
And an equally damaging falsehood, the crack baby.
Despite all the warnings, a growing number of babies are being born already addicted to cocaine.
They'll spend the rest of their lives suffering for the lifestyle of their mothers.
What would you do about pregnant women who use drugs and pass those drugs on to their babies?
The media played a huge part in making the public feel that crack was really the real threat and that treatment wasn't the answer, but jail.
And the federal government's response to the war on drugs was clear. Lock them up and throw away the key.
Yeah, that's the end of it. So that was the video, everybody. So I would like to get your response on the video as well. But we're going to talk about, I'm going to start with, what do y'all think is the grassroots of the inner city addiction that is going on right now? We can start with Alicia.
I'd be polite. Ladies first.
Yeah, we can start with Alicia.
Well, I think I don't know. There's something about, there's so many things that are acceptable, socially acceptable in the inner city community, and if you look at the cities, it's where you're going to find most of your liquor stores, most of your bars, and it starts there, right? And that's where connections can be made. We meet people off the street hanging out outside of those places, and we get introduced to other things. And so I'm not saying that those things shouldn't exist, but it's definitely, I feel it's definitely a gateway with how we meet people and get introduced to other drugs that also become addictions.
Absolutely. Miss Jen?
This one's hard for me because I feel like just about every place right now is struggling. Like, not just the inner city. Like, country towns are suffering, sometimes even worse. The smaller, there's like no meetings, there's no community. It's all just drugs.
Right.
That's all it is. Your neighbors are going to jail. it's all around. So for me, it's a little hard to say just inner city is suffering because I don't believe that's true. However, I grew up in the inner city, and it was like Alicia said, it's like acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many guns I've seen just laying on top of somebody's car, or that kind of shit was just what it was.
Right. Absolutely. Ivan.
All right, I want to thank you for having me on this because I am not in inner city. Okay,
Right.
I'm not trying to pretend I am.
Right.
However, drug addiction, to me, it's like cancer. It's as indiscriminate as cancer. It affects the old, the young, the rich, the poor, the black, the white. Everybody is susceptible to this disease. And unfortunately, like in the video, I forget how long, when it was Nixon who started this thing. This is the pandemic, the ultimate pandemic that our government is choosing to ignore. Our government is enabling us practically to do this. They are our biggest enabler by allowing this stuff into the country, by not having the programs that we need. And really the addict, I mean, there are programs, I'm not knocking it. There are programs, I'm here because of one. But, we're really up to our own devices to get over this. And and it really, like I said, is the ignored pandemic for sure.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that one. What are some of these solutions? Are there any solutions, or we just have to just figure this shit out for ourselves? What y'all think?
Stop making it cool.
Right.
Stop putting it in your songs. Stop ooh, I live in the hood. That's not cute. It's not cute at all.
Mm-hmm.
Stop making things so awesome.
I couldn't agree with that more. I mean, that kids look up to their parents. Kids look up to the guys on TV. Jamie Foxx. We talked about Jamie Foxx, and I'm not trying to drag him into this in a negativity, but what things that Jamie Foxx does, our kids are gonna do because they look up to him.
Yeah,
So
they idolize these entertainers, they worship them.
Right. So it's important to start at the top, and in this case, that's the top. If it's cool, and I'm gonna say the Snoop Dogg. Big pot. This is what he promotes. This is his thing.
Yeah.
And something, and kids idolize him.
But a lot of times in the entertainment business, and I know that you all can agree with me on this, a lot of them are silenced behind closed doors. A lot of them have these things that they want to say, but they can't say it. You know what I mean? Because they'll lose this endorsement. They go against a lot of these politics and a lot of these agendas that's going on, but they will not speak out about it. So
right.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We got a new person here. What's going on?
Hi.
Yeah, what's going on? Oh, because I know Miss Alicia, you had a few questions. We can go back and forth.
Sure. I do have a question. Do you think that population has anything to do with drug addiction in inner city communities, being that they are usually overpopulated?
That's a good one. Anybody can start.
I think it's easier in a sense that, like you said, there's more people. So I'm rural. I have to drive, I would have to drive 15 minutes to buy some drugs. Whereas if you have a community that's got 10-story apartment buildings, it's a more dense population. So it's just, I think it's a matter of logistics that it's easier to get just because there's more people living in a concentrated area. I think the same percentage, is there, kind of thing. That makes sense.
Yeah, that do make sense. Like you said, because if you got to drive far to get it, you can still get it. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing gonna stop us from going to get what we want. But if it's right around the corner from you, and like you said, it's easily accessible to you, so you can easily just get it here. So,
and especially if, as we were just talking about, if it's okay in that neighborhood, it's just, that's just the neighborhood. It's fine.
Absolutely.
I know in our area there are some areas that are not that good close to us, and they've done some stuff. I remember it was one really bad street. They added some lighting to it. They made it one way, and they kind of tried to change it. I don't know how. I mean, I haven't been there in a long time. I don't know how much it changed, but that's a drop in the bucket. That's nothing.
Right. Absolutely.
I think it makes it easier to find too when it's overpopulated. I'm more likely to run into somebody who has something in an overpopulated area. You know, I moved from LA County, Orange County of California out here to Idaho. And I just, don't come across it as much, I'm in recovery, so I can if I wanted to, but I'll tell you, it's not like it was in the inner cities of LA, when I could just walk up the street and someone's ready to is hanging out, just looking, waiting for that customer, and I don't see that here. And so I think also, the ordinances of the cities and things like that are very different from inner city to rural areas sometimes as well.
Absolutely. Miss Jessica, welcome to the show.
Hi, everyone.
We're doing good. We're doing. You have anything on the conversation?
It sounds like I don't agree with it, but I'm also in California, been associated with LA for a long time, was just there last week. And I think everyone's pretty much hitting it. Like, there's so many people that you have from the richest to the poorest. So you have everything available. And we see a really high number of addicts in very rich communities because the money's available. They can go down the street in LA to get it, and where maybe Orange County, it's a little less because there's still the, poorest of the poor, richest of the rich, but maybe the population isn't as large. But it made me think when you were saying it, like, why don't we see that in other countries then? Why don't we see that in China and the places that have a really concentrated amount in the city, a populated concentrated amount in the city? Is it the control of the substances? Is it the amount of police officers that we have or whatever, like resources that we have? I don't know the answer to that. I think that it's available everywhere. Yeah. I'm a 42-year-old teacher and I could probably get it right now, and I live in a small town. So it's easier to access, but it's also still everywhere,
Absolutely.
I think there's a level of acceptance. My wife and I went to San Francisco a few years ago, and my wife is she jogs or whatever, and we happen to be staying by the Golden Gate Bridge. So my wife, 7:00 in the morning, my wife went out for a run, and I went for a stroll along the water. And my wife came back. She said, "Oh my God, the Golden Gate Bridge is right there." And I said, "Well, I had a guy smoking crystal meth on a park bench. There's a lot of homeless lying around, and there was a cop right there. The guy's taking a hit, and the cop didn't care. Is he just that he's immune to it? It's because it's all over the place." There's also something called the broken glass theory. It's like a policing theory. I know it's the commissioner of police in New York said it. I don't know how it is out west, but basically it means the theory is if you have a row of stores and one of the stores, the window's smashed in and there's graffiti on another window, and there's a couple of guys lying around in the street, this is going to be conducive to a drug and crime atmosphere. Now, I'm not saying every community needs to be affluent, but if it looks good, if it's well lit, if it's a little, it would be less conducive because, like you're saying, Alicia, you're saying that people, is it easier to get in a concentrated or area like that? The police have to stop accepting it and stepping over, they're stepping over this stuff and ignoring it. And that I think that's the first clean up the community, and I think that's the first step.
I like when you said, I think everybody's just numb to it. You see it so much, man. It's become second nature. It's like,
I mean, these cops just walk by the guy taking a hit, like they couldn't be bothered, and
but let you go past there and speeding or something, and you got a little old blunt in your car, they go try to kill you for that. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I got a question. Yeah, I got a question for y'all. What role does poverty, unemployment, and lack of resources play in addiction around the globe and inner city addiction?
I'm ready. Sorry, guys. I don't want to cut anybody off, but
go.
I fell into my addiction. Poverty. You don't have a job. If you got to be somewhere at 8:00 in the morning, you got to be there. You have some responsibility. you have nothing to do, you're walking out, you walk out of your house, you see an old friend, everybody's hanging out. I mean, that in and of itself, I'm not saying necessarily poverty, but I think unemployment has a lot to do with it. I was in a crack house, and the woman was bragging to me that she was third generation Section 8 housing. I don't know if you guys, do they call it Section 8 by you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So third generation Section 8 housing, and proud of it.
Right.
Again, thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it. I probably put a different light on maybe what your experiences are, but in my experience, it's like, if you're proud of that, how are you ever going to dig yourself out of that hole?
Right.
How are you going to get your kids out of that hole?
Right.
So I think poverty and unemployment has a ton to do with it.
Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely right about that.
So I'm going to play the advocate for a minute for the woman who said that or whatever. Maybe, do you think it could have been that she meant she's grateful that she had housing?
She's grateful. I don't know. I mean, it's if you want to take that direction, I think that's fine. But why would you be grateful about that? I mean,
I live in Section 8 housing, and I'm completely grateful I have housing.
Okay. Yes, I agree with that. I
wouldn't brag about it, but I am grateful I'm here because I'd be on the streets I live in.
And we should. I happen to be a landlord and have Section 8 tenants, and they have jobs. They're very good people. They just happen to, they need the assistance. And I don't think that, and I'm all for it. I'm an advocate of it. However, her saying that she was third generation with a sense of pride, like, I'm hoping, I don't know if you have children or not, but I would hope that you would want, I don't want to say this in any insulting way, but I would hope that every parent wants better for their children, right? Isn't that the common goal?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, everybody
Absolutely.
fights. Everybody fights in the world. And I think it's horrendous because if you get down to the bottom line of what every single person wants, they just want a better life for their kids. Hopefully you leave the world, or hopefully we all leave the world a little bit better than when we found it, because that's the only way things will work. So I think she, I don't know. I'm sorry if you don't agree with me, but do you want your grandkids also to be on Section 8, or would you rather have them have a nice house with the kids go to college and maybe somebody becomes a doctor or a lawyer or a politician, if that's a good thing? I would think that would be the hopes and dreams of Americans, and not to be on subsidized housing for generations.
Right. I understand both of y'all saying, but it's a lot of people that's probably in Section 8 that are, doing like real wonderful things. But I also
100%. My parents have jobs. One of them works in a hospital. They're good people. I'm not saying no.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, go ahead, Lisa.
I myself, for the first 5 years of my recovery, I was blessed with Section 8.
Right.
And, but I also took it as a stepping stone.
Absolutely.
So when I had it for 5 years, I made the conscious decision to get off of it because I was then able to become self-supporting, which part of the program that I'm part of has taught me how to be. Mm-hmm. One of the things I think is, like, poverty to me does play it is a big factor in addiction. At least it played one for me, because one, I had nothing to lose. Right. And two, I had a lot to numb. Yeah. And that was really why I used, right? Like, I didn't have all these big things. And I'm not saying that if I had a house of my own and a car of my own, I have respect for those things today, thanks to recovery, that I would never want to use and jeopardize losing those things. But when I have nothing to lose, it's kind of hard for you to convince me, that if I get clean, something better can happen. It's kind of hard for me to believe. I was married to an addict who wouldn't stop using. And I remember, and I really want to share this because it might help somebody understand why there are some that may not get clean. And I remember asking him and telling him, and I was the kind of I would work 2 jobs so that he didn't have to work, because I thought work got him loaded. I'd clean the house so he wouldn't have to clean, because I thought that got him loaded. I tried to save him. And I remember him telling me one time, he goes, the reason I keep getting loaded is because it's easier to worry about the next 7 hours than it is the rest of my life. And that was his sad truth.
Wow.
He'd been using since the age of 8. So he couldn't comprehend that there's more to life because he never had a taste of it.
Yeah.
You know, his disease took him to the level that made him believe that, you know what? I don't think that can happen for me. It's never happened for me. It hasn't happened for me. It may not happen for me. And what I love about this platform is that we're giving others hope that it can happen for you. I was born and raised into a family that came from a third world country. I have a life beyond my wildest dreams because I've gotten clean and because I found the help. You know, and at the end of the day, you know, so I was in a group earlier that was talking about willingness. We have to be willing to look for the resources and want it bad enough to get clean.
That's what it's about. Absolutely,
you know?
right.
And but poverty, I feel, does play a big role in why it's hard. It's hard to believe that we deserve better, but we do.
Right.
Alicia, I heard one thing from you, and that's pride. Okay? Pride in yourself. And I think in this thing, and I never occurred to me, part of the inner city problem is pride. How do you give people pride in themselves, pride in what they accomplished when the whole world has shat on them for their whole lives? Right. This is a difficult problem. I don't have a solution, but I think listening to you talk, it's pride. Pride will make you rise.
I would add to that resilience, because in poverty, I came from poverty. I came from a very poor neighborhood. And at that time, my dad was a meth dealer and a motorcycle gang president and an abuser, you know, and now I own a home. I have a family. I have a very good job, and I don't abuse my kids. How do we teach resiliency? How do we teach kids like me who've been abused and who've had to deal with life like that? You don't have to continue that. We call it generational curses, and I broke that, thank God, by God's grace. But my kids will never have to deal with, are we going to eat today? Who's that man that just walked in my house? Why are there guns at my door? My kids will never deal with that. So I agree with you, and I hope it doesn't turn into something deeper for anyone, because I don't think that's your message. I agree that if we don't have pride in ourselves, we don't have resiliency, motivation, drive. How do we teach those things to people who have been taught it is okay to be the very minimum yourself you can be? And I teach students with special needs, and every day it's just motivation and mindfulness, and you can do hard things. And my fear is that once we go against something difficult, oh, I'm not good enough to accomplish that.
Right.
That. Why do you think that? Who has taught you that? Who's told you you have to stay in that, you know, trashy neighborhood?
Right.
And I don't have the answer either. It's something within you that you, like, for me, I wasn't going to stop until my life was better for my children, you know?
Right. You know, a lot of times you can see it, you could say it like, a lot of times the people will grow up around what they see. And, you know, if they have their family members, their mom or their dad, they are in Section 8, blase, or whatever the living conditions may be, that's all they know.
Yeah.
See, they ain't never been able to see that it's a better way. Ain't nobody taught them that it's a better way. It's a better chance of you doing it like this. They just know that I can go out here, and that's where the drugs at, that's where the gangs at. That's my surroundings. They always say you become your environment. You know what I mean? You're like where you're from. We got Alicia.
They do say it's self-medication too. Again, like Alicia says, it's easier to worry about the next 7 hours and just all your problems. I take a hit, all my problems went away. I didn't pay my bills either. So my house almost went away. But,
right.
You know, this is what happens.
Yeah, we got Alicia. Alicia is in here, everybody. She got joined the broadcast with us today. What's up, Alicia? Can she hear me?
She's muted.
She's typing over here, I see. I don't know if
there she is. I'm traveling. I'm on travel today.
Okay.
Say hi.
And what's going on?
Just saying that I love having these conversations. We need to have these discussions. And when talking about teaching our children how to be resilient, and I related to, I don't know who was just talking about being very selective about who I let in my home environment. And it's not a lot of people, I'll be completely honest. Because a lot of people in my community are still very lost and in their own addictions and not dealing and healing with their abuse. So I just wanted to say, hey,
What's going on?
Get some time away from the kids. So me and the husband are out traveling around.
What's going on? Tell him I said, what's up? What's up, sir?
How's it going?
Nothing much, man. Thank you, man. Because
maybe one day he can hop on with me and,
of
give you
course.
a different perspective of what it was like to live with me in my addiction, because he did for a good 3.5 years.
Absolutely. He more than welcome.
Okay. Have a good day.
All right.
Bye-bye.
That's my girl right there. That's my girl. But also, man, we're gonna continue this conversation because I love the way it's going. What role do unemployment and lack of resources play?
Unemployment, it's great. I've been on unemployment, and they don't have the resources either. They tell you, oh, you have to keep a record of a job search. You have to do this. You have to do that. Are there really resources on unemployment? Do they really help people get back on their feet and get jobs? Or they just pay out cash till your 6 months runs out and then you're on your own?
It's crazy. Yeah, because at the end of the day, half the people that's probably on unemployment anyway, they still doing what they doing anyway. They probably just using that check, to keep everything going.
They don't, like I said, they tell you, at least in New York, they tell you you're supposed to keep a record of your job search. You're supposed to look like for 5 jobs a week, or provide proof of this stuff. No one ever asked for that. And it's just a bunch of crap. They give out money until your time is up.
What is the importance of the community involvement that helping, stepping in, policies?
I think it's huge, because if you don't have like the people that you're around on your side, they're working against you.
Absolutely. That's why I say, for me, it all starts in the community too. Because if you want more out of your community, you got to. Somebody got to do it. Because half the time the state ain't gonna do it. Your city councils ain't gonna do it. The person have to put in the effort in order to make change. Change do not just fall out the fucking sky. You have to go out there and talk to the people. You got to go out there and touch their hands and see what is actually going on to try to make change. And even when you try to make change, it will be stumbling and hurdle blocks. But man, you got to put in the work if you really want change in your community.
It's hard. I had a friend pass away 2 weeks ago, and his son is an addict, and he was getting out of control of the family. So they asked me to step in, and I got to tell you, it was like looking in the mirror. First, I'm not using, I'm this, everything's good. You know the stories you hear, and that everybody gives you all the bullshit. And I told him, I said, listen, I don't give a shit if you're using this. I want to get your head straight. And, as hard as we try, as much as we want, as much as if your parents were still alive when you guys were using, as much as your parents or your brothers and sisters wanted you to stop, if you didn't want to stop, you weren't stopping. So support is so important. The group's so important. One of the things I love the most about AA is, your family, you started using, they look down on you. But AA, they're there to pick you up, brush you off, and you're allowed to start at day one as many times as you have to,
Absolutely.
I think that I was an alcoholic, so I use that to self-medicate. We were talking about that earlier. So the root of the problem is what we need the resources for. The result is I'm an alcoholic, but the root was I was lonely and scared, and I didn't have anyone, and I, all those things I abused and all these things, right? So once I start, it starts with yourself. I agree with that. Once I accepted that I have a problem, I need to get some help. I didn't go the AA route. I didn't go the NA route. I didn't go to any meetings. I only do this, honestly.
That's fantastic.
And what I found is, if you don't come to resolve within yourself, you accept. I did this therapy called EMDR. And it's basically going back to the root of all your issues, right? So my childhood was traumatic. I had a lot of abuse, a lot of neglect, all these things. So we go back there, we heal that child. It sounds kind of silly, but we heal that child. You accept that. You love that person you were. You feel sorry. You apologize. You grow from that. And now you're to this point as an adult where, yes, that was my life, but this is not my life. And so I've accepted all those things. I can move forward. We don't want to implement that on our children. And that's what woke me up. My eyes were open when my children were being affected by my alcoholism. And so because I don't want to continue that, because I came to that resolve. But the resources were my church family, my own family, my husband, panels like this. I joined a lot of sober mom group, things like that, because you need that community once you make that resolve. But I don't think they can make you change. I think it's a support system after the fact. So first, get help for yourself. For me, it was therapy. And I was cold turkey. I didn't go to anything. And I was able to accomplish that, not on my own, but under God's grace. So luckily that hasn't come back, and it's day by day for me. I've been through an NA program. I was an addict in high school, as much as you can be in high school. But so I know the gist of it. I know the 12 steps and things like that. But the community resources would be after you choose, I'm done with this life. What do they have out there? We have a homeless community that's really high into drugs. So they have a ton of reach out for them. There's youth communities, there's, LGBTQ things. There's all kinds of, for the help that people need for feeling different, left out, hurt, abused, broken, things like that. That's where that should happen. I don't think that it's not going to make you stop, but it'll help you keep going.
Absolutely. Miss Jen?
I don't think I really have much to say on this, actually.
Absolutely. I got you. Because I know, Miss Elise, you got another question for us.
Yeah, I just really want to share something real quick on that topic, though.
Go ahead.
One of the things that I feel like I can do, at least to be part of my community, is tell my story, right? Like, if I get this thing called recovery and I keep it to myself, then I'm not able to help that next addict who suffers. And so I really feel like, I know it may seem like, well, you help one person, what can that do? But when you can carry a message of recovery to one other addict that is still suffering, whether they're inside or outside of a room, I've done more than one anonymous program. I don't promote them, so I'm not going to mention them. But there are, when I found recovery, I went to Google.
Yeah.
Nobody in my family told me I was an addict. They didn't even know what one was. Mm-hmm. No one in my friends, of my associates, told me that I was an addict, of course, because if I stop using, I may convince them to stop using. Mm-hmm. Right. But I went to it was as easy as going to Google and typing in drug problem, and all these resources popped up. And I had to find the strength within myself to say, okay, no matter how scary this is going to be, no matter how much I don't know what I'm going to what to expect, I'm going to try. I'm going to reach out to these resources. And turned out that there was a meeting literally 3 blocks away from where I live. I had no idea about it, but I had to walk through that fear of the unknown, because the truth is, like, my fear to die was greater than my fear of the unknown. And so I reached out into whatever resource was in my community. And then I became part of the solution once I got that help, and I think it's really important that, you give us the opportunity to share our story and to spread the word that there are solutions out there. There is help out there. And it's just about having the willingness and the open-mindedness to look for those things and seek out the help and take action,
That was we cut off?
For Elise, I had to get her that air. Woo! That girl she's dropping them.
Okay. Yes, I thought that was awesome, especially
the
fact that you said if you help one person, and I don't know who said it, but the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And and if there's 5 of us here, and if one person in the hour we spent here gets help or gets clean, then it was the best hour that any of us ever. It's the best 5 hours combined that we could have spent in our lives. So we had a lot of questions about inner city and a lot of questions about this. What can we do? And Alicia, you hit the nail on the head.
Yes, she
What can we
did.
do? It's exactly what we're doing. Talk to somebody, and like I said, my book too. If I help one person, then I'm blessed. And so is that.
Because I love the fact that she said this. I mean, it's the lack of resources. So she said that, basically she had to hit the ground. She had to go out there and search it. A lot of times, a lot of people in inner city or just battling addiction don't have the way to search that. She said she Googled it and found out what she needed. And after that,
there was a meeting a block away.
And block away
right?
is resources, is reaching out, trying to get the connections, trying to find out where they're hosting this spot at, where they're hosting this get together with somebody that's going through the same thing that you are. So you can get an idea or, damn, I am an addict. Like, damn, I do have these problems. And when you get around a certain people in the same community and sharing going through the same thing you are going, like she said, then when she became the solution, I love that. I gotta hit that again. I gotta hit that again.
Thumbs up.
Hit that again. Yes. But yeah. That was awesome. Powerful. Let me see. I got one. We did that one. Important. Well, okay. What is the role of education awareness campaigns raising understanding and empathy towards addiction in the inner cities?
I'm going to ask a question. I know you don't answer a question with a question, but again, I am not in the city, and I want to thank you again for having me here. I think it's fabulous, for a different perspective. And you guys are going to have to correct me on this, because on my side of the fence, we hear the police, everything is anti-police, and they're against the people, and there's a lot of problems. But over here, we have community policing. I'm involved in local politics. I was a past president of my Chamber of Commerce. And this took years to build after my addiction. I'm clean 13 years. But we have the community policing, and they go to the schools, and they talk to the kids. Is that a thing outside my community? And do you think something like that would help? Because the cops here want everybody to know that they're on their side and not against them. That's my question.
So we have, I'm an elementary school teacher, so I can't speak for high school because we're separate districts, but we have what's called a community resource officer. It is a public officer, but they are specific to elementary schools. They try to be present because we just don't have enough, right? There's never enough funding. There's never enough people. And so even in the smaller town I am, it's still a bigger place. So we have 18 elementary schools just in my district. We have, I think, 4 resource officers. So they have to split the schools among them, and they just come. If they're not disciplining or correcting or doing that type of job, they are trying to be present, just playing basketball with the kids or soccer or hanging out at recess or whatever. We are a very poor neighborhood. We're a Title I school, so that means all of our students are on free lunch this year. We have multi-generational housing, so we have many people living in one house. And we are one of the lowest, I live in California, we're one of the lowest, how you can get a regular house for under 500,000 here, where that's rare in California, right? So to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know if it's helping. I don't know if it is beneficial. It's nice to see them on campus, but what I will say is that my kids are afraid of them most of the time.
They are.
Whatever's
they're kicking down doors constantly. If you live at, like we talked about, dense populations, if the cops are kicking down doors 3 times a week in your building, then then the kids are going to be scared. Everybody's anti-police because a lot more people are being arrested, and they took your father away, and they probably beat him up, and you know what I'm saying. And this is not right, but this is also a problem.
Yeah,
absolutely. You got another one for us, Alicia?
Yes, and I think it was kind of talked about earlier, but let's see if we can kind of narrow it down.
Right.
Can anyone name some social factors that happen in the inner city community that perpetuate addiction.
Absolutely, entertainment, music.
Yeah.
That's like the main source right now, because everybody, all races of all kinds, man. Right now, music is the biggest influence in the game right now. Music and these entertainers are the biggest weapon that can spread to the masses real quick about the Percocets. You got Future, Molly Percocet, and I mean they
are glorifying the shit out of drug use.
I mean, but you know they've been doing that since the beginning of time. Anyways,
Yeah.
it's just that now
this is different though.
Yeah, just now is they using these celebrities as they puppets.
This is super different. I believe than it was in the 90s. Even it's super different.
Yeah, with
every single song has booze.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it how they say it. It's not my belief, but booze, bitches, blunts, it's just cool.
I mean, you know, right now it's
And
like
it's everybody. It's white rappers. It's white. It doesn't matter. You could be polka dotted with blue eyes.
then you go steal because right now that's sales.
And they sing about it and look at their lifestyles and the fancy cars. Who doesn't want a fancy car and a vacation on the beach and all this stuff? All the things you're talking about is drugs and women and this. And look at your life.
Right.
Even it's not drugs, but even glorified movies of the mafia and all this stuff.
Sure.
Like you look at them and it's like, of course, you're a little kid. You're not in an affluent community. You have some poverty, and you see all these criminals making money on TV and living this large life. How do you not want to ascend to that?
And you got the number one movie in the world is Scarface, and you think you think you can actually be him? So you went, I'm gonna go start selling me some cocaine, and
look what happened to him in the end.
Exactly,
right?
You cannot do what you see, on TV, and that's kind of crazy.
I'm going to add that. I'm going to say that in communities like mine, there's nothing for these kids to do.
Right.
They're bored, right? So
that's another huge problem.
They don't have any type. We have nothing. We have one movie theater. That's it. So these kids are going to their homies, drinking, smoking, doing whatever they want as young as elementary school. I have 6th graders coming to school high. I mean, it's just awful, and what do we do? Parents are working because they have to. There's no one parent stays home anymore. It's 2 parents are gone. If you're lucky enough to have 2 parents, or grandma stays home and grandma doesn't know what to look for, and they're getting high in the room or whatever. Right. And you have to be aware. Awareness for adults should be there should be educational resources for that, and just what to look for.
That's fantastic. I grew up. I think I started smoking pot at 13. I did whatever I wanted, doing drugs every night with my friends, etc. We have 2 daughters. Both involved in after-school activities. One is in dance and one is in cheerleading. But these girls come home from school. They do their homework for a half hour. Then by 5, 6 o'clock, they're at this activity, and they don't get home till 9 o'clock at night. And then they're tired and they go to bed, and boom, they're up at 7 o'clock in the morning again. So that could be huge, having something to keep. They're not on the streets. They're not out there. You know what I mean? They're just too busy. And that might be a possibility of getting some programs, getting kids and getting them to do something in a supervised environment that they have to aspire to, because both these kids are in competitive sports, if you will, that they're driven to win, not just driven to hang out in a gymnasium after school, but something that gives them some drive. Back to Alicia, some pride in what they're doing to get them. I think pride is, I'm learning this as I'm speaking. I think pride is huge.
Yeah, that's the word of the day. We're gonna continue that. But I'm gonna piggyback off of the beginning of it. Because you love to say a lot of people with the entertainment business and things like that. You see all these rappers out here that is talking this shit about popping pills and
fentanyl and how great it is.
Okay, but they talking it. And so these young people, let me tell you this, these young people are soaking all that shit in. But see, Jay-Z and them, they talking about it. But they ain't going back to the hood like you. You got to go back to the hood and go do that shit. They're standing in these big ass mansions. Them people are not going back to the hood like you. So they shooting this shit to you, and some of them ain't even living.
They're not going back to the hood though?
But some of them not even living that lifestyle. They just do it. Let me tell you this. in the entertainment, but the people who own these record labels are the same ones who own the prisons. So they need this into the street. They need these young people out here killing each other. They need these rappers to put out this music, this type of music, in order to feed them themselves in the prisons. The same people that run the record label, the same people that owns the prisons. So it's all running hand in hand. It's all we just being played, man. And they playing a big game on our youth too. They playing up on them. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. But the main word today, man, I love that, is pride. And so we're gonna continue that. We're gonna continue that on. Anybody have anything y'all want to say? Y'all can just Ivan, anything that
I think I talked enough, dude.
no, you good, man. You good. I love having you on, man. We need that.
Thank you so much.
The dialogue that's what I need, man. So that's what
anytime you call me anytime. And like I said, if the five of us together helped one single person today, how blessed are we? And how blessed are they? That's the goal here.
Yeah, we ain't done. We ain't done. Mr. Elise, you have anything else? I think I have.
I was thinking about the how the influence of music, right? The promise, I just find it unbelievable. And I think any addict who's watching this right now should know that, like, the drugs promise something it can't freaking deliver, right? Even when I first use, I may think, oh, I'm gonna make some money, I'm gonna get in the hustle, this is the game, I'm fly, I get a car, I get this. What you don't see is the end of the tape, right? That at the end, I'm alone, I'm in despair.
That's what I was saying. Yeah,
I lose the car, I lose the money,
Mm-hmm.
I lose everything, including myself, and I'm just, it takes what it takes, and I'm just so grateful for, at least for myself, that it took what it took, because it looked fun in the beginning.
Yeah.
But it didn't end that way
at all, because a lot of them, you're absolutely right, because they glorify the lifestyle
so bad.
They show you that Jay-Z living like this. They show you that they had this big necklace on and riding in these cars, but they don't. But some of them rappers, I'm telling y'all, I know this. Some of them rappers are not living like that. But they have to push that certain music out, because that is the music that sells. Them are the music. That's the type of music that get the streams. That's the type of, see, the people in these companies, they know exactly what these young folks want to hear. And so in order to if you want to be number one, you want your music streamed, you have to make this type of music. If not, you just, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
So it sounds like what we need is some really positive role models.
Yeah, or somebody that just ain't scared to canceled. We do not have a celebrity that is scared. Everybody's so scared to be canceled. They do not want to lose their endorsements. They don't want to go against their agenda. They don't want to step outside the box because they'll be hushed. You know what I mean? We need one person, one major figure to just step out and just, be able to risk it all, man, and just tell the public and tell the people the truth. We don't have that. Yeah. You can continue, Jessica.
That was it. Just I don't have a solution for that. How would they? Because it takes money and respect and all those things to be a public figure. So how can we get that there if they have a good message?
Right,
who has a good message, they're pushed aside for those who have a bad message, and who money is there. It's in the bad influences, not in the good ones. It's hard. I don't know what the answer to that is.
Well, and I don't know about y'all, but when I was in the depths of my addiction, I wasn't rolling on cool cars, and I wasn't making videos with my friends, and you see me on yachts. Like, that never happened for me. I never got no yacht from being on dope. Thank you very much. Like, it's selling something that you're never gonna obtain.
Selling something that you can't possibly buy.
Exactly.
Wow. Man, y'all be educating me so much, man. That's why I love doing this. That's why I love doing this. If y'all out there right now, and anybody new to the channel, I see a couple people watching. This is the Sober Gang Experience podcast, and this is my cast of guest panel speakers. We are talking about inner city addiction and trying to find solutions and strategies to help you navigate through that as well. So I would love for you guys, if you're watching right now, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Okay. Anybody have anything else? We can go on. I mean, if y'all have any questions, y'all can just ask them, because I have a few more left. Mr. Elise, you have a few more? Yeah, we can go.
I think you asked some of the ones I wrote. So
Yeah, we probably because I'm skipping over some of mine. Like I'm skipping over some of mine right now. So yeah, because as we talk, I'm like, man, we talking about that right now. So I'm actually skipping over some, but I have one.
I actually had 2 really good small readings sent to me today.
Yeah, go ahead.
And one was from someone who was actually reused in the last couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt really good to get something like from that person. So the first one I got was someone who was using. Recovery is not simple abstinence. It's about healing the brain, remembering how to feel, learning how to make good decisions, becoming the kind of person who can engage in healthy relationships, cultivating the willingness to accept help from others, daring to be honest, and opening up to doing it.
Wow, powerful.
That is, recovery is probably the hardest road that any of us have traveled. And that person was right in the beginning. They kind of said that, healing everything. And here we go to pride again. I keep coming back to that word. I'm proud of all you. I'm proud of myself. We all need to be proud of ourselves. And this is it's a hard thing. It's really hard. And
damn right.
You know,
like she said, yeah. At least.
And then I have one more that it's super important for me to hear this, and it's probably important for a lot of people to hear. So forgive yourself for not knowing better at the time. Forgive yourself for giving away your power. Forgive yourself for past behaviors. Forgive yourself for the survival patterns and traits you picked up while enduring trauma. Forgive yourself for being who you needed to be at the time.
Yes. All right.
That was huge for me.
There it is. No regrets.
There it is. Yep. You deserve the air horn for that one. So I'm giving out these air horns, man. And that, like I said, these things for pride. Pride is the thing we touching on and we hitting on right now. Ivan, if you don't mind, can you read a little bit excerpts from your book or the back of it?
I can the people read that.
Know. Go ahead.
This is my book, Overcooked. We don't have callers or anything, do we? I'd love to give this to somebody.
I would. I'm gonna start doing it. I'm gonna start having the number at the bottom of the screen for calls.
Anyway, I'm gonna have it. I started writing as a therapy for myself, just as if you would talk in one of the rooms. Started putting stories together, and eventually I wrote some chapters, and it says in the beginning, it says, if you're reading this as a parent or a relative, and you're thinking that this addict has done something to you or has hurt you in some way, it says put down the book because you're not ready to read it. You don't understand the addict yet. But on the back of the book, it says, I don't know why I thought I was special or why any addict thinks they can beat the game. We all think that way. We think we can beat the odds, or more accurately, that the odds don't even exist for us. It was such a thrill rolling the dice with every hit and every pull on that glass pipe, rising higher and higher to winning the game. I never won, thank God. For the only prize in the game of addiction is death. And when you've reached its highest level, there is no replay.
Absolutely.
That's on the back.
Absolutely. That's great. Wow. If you can send me the link, like right after this show, I
could probably put it. Should I put it on this chain or no?
Just send it. Yeah, just send it to me on the back end, and I'm gonna add it. I'm gonna add it in the description.
Oh, so that's awesome. That's
anybody that want to, so that's free promo, man. You know how I do it, man. I don't, Cash App or whatever. I'm not really just worried about it. I get my blessings from just helping and inspiring somebody. So that's what it's really about on this channel.
You know what, too? If you have somebody, you do this every week.
Yeah, we go live every Tuesday, so you can
every Tuesday. If you got somebody special, you got somebody who wants it. I'd be, you send me a link. I'd be happy to send them one on me. Complimentary. All right.
Got you. Yes,
if it helps, like I said, if it helps somebody, God bless us.
I would think that book would be extremely important to a newcomer.
Right.
It's a tough read. I mean, it's some graphic stories. It's some graphic stories. It's some funny ones. It's about my life in the restaurant business. But the drug stories are real. You know what I mean? It starts with the first chapter is me getting out of jail. The book is no holds barred. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna make sure. So y'all make sure y'all check in the description box. I will have the link and the title of the book, so you all can go purchase it. Is it on Amazon?
It is on Amazon. You can look up my Overcooked in my name, Ivan Sales. It'll pop up on Amazon. Or there's the link I have actually goes to the publishing company. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. But that's it.
There you go. There you go. Anybody have anything anything they done over the weekend they want to talk about? Any interesting thing they would like to share before we wrap it up?
I will. I just got traveling. My sister, I have 7 siblings by 5 different moms. That was my dad's gift to us. And we came from the same father, but we lived separate lives because we weren't raised together. And she's not an addict by any means, but she of course has the same personality traits that I do. We have addictive personalities. But it was interesting because now that I'm sober, spending time with her, her life revolves around, hey, do you want to go to the bar and hang out? Well, she was trying to cater to me. And for me personally, and this is not for everyone, I don't have a problem with going to a bar and hanging out. I don't need to drink. It's not something that I'm currently, it doesn't affect me currently. But what I did notice, the more people that I run into who drink more than occasionally, they show more respect to me now than they ever did before, right? So here we think that we are undesirable. How could anyone respect me? I can't. If they knew what I did in secret, they would never talk to me again, things like that. You go and you spend time with people who maybe you were spending time with in your previous life before sobriety. And they're respecting you more now because they're sober curious. They want to know what's different about you. Why are you doing this? And so even while we were there, I was able to just share with her, it's okay not to drink also. And I think what I'm trying to say is we have this fear, we were saying earlier, this fear of maybe what are people going to think of me? How could they ever forgive me? How could they accept me for who I am now? When in reality, we're the ones that are brave enough to step out and say, I'm done with this. And now they're noticing that and they're saying, maybe I'm done with this too. And so throughout this whole, the panel and throughout the whole, I'm sure your intention with the book and everything else, which thank you for that. We need to get over our fear. And the fear got us into addiction. And now the fear is keeping us from getting out too. And if we could just have that pride, have that realization of maybe I just need to be braver than my fear and everything will be all right, And it's day by day for me. I still think about alcohol every day. Still find my bottles hidden in my house every day. Right. But it's less now and it gets better over time, So be braver than your fear, just that one step.
Absolutely. I'm trying to hit the DJ air horn, but it ain't. I'm gonna just do it anyway. You deserve one for that one, girl. I love it.
Can you do that one more time?
No, I would not. But I love this, y'all. I just love coming together, and I would love for you guys, man.
I found the book.
Oh, you got
it.
Funny. You found it. I just texted it to Booze. Overcookedbook.com, and you'll get a whole thing. But would you find it on Amazon?
I did.
Amazon.
I did too.
There we go. There we go, everybody.
There are a lot of books called Overcooked, but it's like kids. All the books popped up like kids cooking and all this.
You got to put my name in. And
I figured that out.
It was actually my wife's idea because I come from the restaurant business. And if you notice, how do I get this in camera? Okay, so you notice that's what's holding up the frying pan. There's a frying pan with a flame, and it's that because it represents the transition from my addiction to my, prevailing, if you want to call it that. So that was actually my wife's idea.
Absolutely.
Go wife.
There
wife.
We go.
Yeah.
There we go, everybody. Make sure y'all go check out Ivan, man. I love that book. Go check out Overcooked.
Thank you.
I will have the description in the description box. Well, the link in the description box. Anything else y'all would love to say before we get out? If it's anybody right now, I would love for each and every one of y'all to we can go around and just say for anybody right now is battling anything that is going through something right now, maybe watching this. Can y'all give them some words of encouragement right now? We will start with Alicia at the top.
I would say just get into action, find the help, right? Like you have nothing to lose and everything to gain from getting into recovery.
Absolutely. Jennifer, Jen.
I'm just gonna say ask for help. It's the hardest thing, but it's the most necessary to even take a step. So,
Miss Jessica.
Yeah, find someone you trust and just say it out loud. Say, I need it. I'm an addict. I need help. That recognition is the first step. So just be braver than your fear.
There it is. Ivan.
You know, I was my girlfriend at the time said something, and this was resonated in me and was the start of my thinking to get clean. And she said to me, you can get high and fuck other women, or you can have everything else in the world. Two things, or everything else in the world. And that's what I have to say about that.
Great. Awesome. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you all for continue to come with me on this journey, man. We are really inspired, and we are really trying to create something special over here on the Sober Gang Experience podcast for you guys. This are my cast of great panel speakers, and we love to try to bring you great content each Tuesday at 1 o'clock, everybody. So make sure you always join us and become a part of the family. Thank you guys. Until next time.
It was a pleasure.
Y'all have a good day.
All y'all.
Take care.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. There you have it. Man, I don't even know how to look. We are creating something special over here. I don't know why I keep touching my headphones. It's just a habit. But we are creating something special over here. This is the Sober Gang Experience podcast. I hope you guys enjoy this 4 hour, man. This conversation got real. People really got into it. I mean, we really got into it. This inner city addiction, I hope you guys enjoyed it, man, because this broadcast was one of the best ones. And make sure you guys continue to rock out with me. Each Tuesday, we go live to try to bring you inspiring content about addiction. That is what we're trying to do. So there's no need for you to go out and be looking for any other addiction YouTube channel, because this is the channel right here. Stop it right here. You just come to us each Tuesday. Make sure you share this live stream. Make sure you talk about this. Make sure you let people know that, hey, they got something going over here on this YouTube channel, and I would love for you guys to go check it out. Tell them about the show. Word of mouth. Spread it. That's what I need for you all. I need y'all to participate in order for us to help others in addiction. That is what it's about. Make sure you continue to like these videos and subscribe if you're new to the channel. We are trying to create something special over here, you guys. And that is really what it's all about at the end of the day. We are trying to help those battling addiction. That's what we're doing. So one video at a time, one person at a time, we are trying to help those in addiction. Thank you, guys. Thank to everyone that was on my panel today. They did an awesome job. We can bring y'all some facts. We bring y'all our opinion. And we bring y'all some information. This is Mr. Show Out TV. Till next time. Yeah.
Welcome to Mr. Show Out TV Recovery and Addiction YouTube channel, where we hope to inspire those battling addiction. Please subscribe and like the channel. Make sure you click the notification bell to get notified whenever we broadcast. Thank you and enjoy the show. To support the channel, you can send donations to Cash App $Mr. Show Out TV. So please don't wait, subscribe now. Together we can help and give inspiration to millions of people.